Well, hello there and welcome. My name is Kylie Patchett and I'm your host, and welcome to the Wild and Finally Fucking Free podcast. This show is all about sharing the real and raw stories from women who have undergone midlife metamorphosis, taken a leap of faith, or broken the ties that bind them in patterns of staying stuck, small, and like their needs don't matter. You see, I believe that the years leading up to and during menopause are a rite of passage, a deep invitation after so many years of giving our time, attention, and energy to others to carve out the same time, energy, and attention in ourselves, in our health, our love, our connection, our vitality, our purpose, our real needs and deep desires. You know, those ones lying dormant underneath all the duty, responsibility, pushing, striving, and achieving of our 20s and 30s? You see, at this stage in our lives, we find ourselves shifting identity potentially, no longer caring as much what other people think, and left wondering why on earth we have not given ourselves permission to do life in the way we truly want to. In this show, I speak to the women brave enough to truth talk their own midlife shedding skin stories, and the healers and helpers who help them transition through these crossroads of change. This is the midlife magic you didn't even know you needed, and I am so freaking glad you found us. Let's dive in. Hello, beautiful people. It's Kylie, obviously. Before we dive into this episode, I wanted to give you a little reminder that if you haven't already listened to it, episode 33 is actually me sharing a bit about my own mental health / mood journey in perimenopause, and how it has woken me back up to the fact that I had quite forgotten to look after some of my really basic human needs. Like, I don't know, good sleep hygiene, making sure I was eating regularly and my blood sugar was even, and taking time out to have fun and to rest. And yeah, if you're anything like me and you're finding that the perimenopause symptoms are buffeting you around a little, then I have created something very special for you. It is a 55-page, yes, it kind of grew, 55-page guide. It's full of really simple, straight talking, back to basics self-care for perimenopause and beyond. It includes information about what you can expect with perimenopause and the biology behind the changes. So if you're a while owner like me, that's really cool to understand. It's got the back to basics self-care anchors, which will allow us to navigate perimenopause, the roller coaster, with a little bit more of an even keel. I've also included the bullshit stories which stop us taking care of ourselves, particularly when our perimenopause symptoms make us feel just not like ourselves, right? And also an invitation to become more gentle and more self-compassionate towards ourselves. So if you're like me and you have been, in some stormy seas lately, please take advantage. This is a totally free guide. I just put together all of my years and years and years of holistic health and mindset and mind, body, breath, wisdom into one 55-page guide. You can grab your free copy on the pod page, which is www.kyliepatchett.com.au. All right, let's dive into the show. Hello, everyone. I have the lovely Claire Connelly. She's actually sitting on a yoga bolster with a cup of tea, looking very zen, which is very appropriate. Hello, Claire. How are you?
Hi, Kylie. Very well.
I'm so excited to speak with you today because I know bits and pieces of your story, but there's a lot that I'm like, oh, I really want to ask this. So I'm just, as usual, trusting how our conversation will unfold. So before we begin, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Thank you. And thank you for having me on the podcast. My first interview ever. So
exciting.
Nerve-wracking, a little bit exciting. I'm a Canberra girl, Canberra born.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done a few things in my life. The main thing that I had was a graphic design artist for about 10 years. But I've moved from that and I'm now into the wellness space. So I'm a yoga instructor and wellness coach. And that happened in 2016. So here I am. I've got my yoga studio in my backyard that my husband and I built a year ago. So that's been fabulous. It means that I don't have to hire the community halls anymore.
Yes, amen. I'm still at that stage, so one day maybe.
So I can literally put the dinner on the stove and walk up the back and teach a class and then walk back into the kitchen.
So good. I've actually seen a photo of your beautiful yoga space and I'm like, oh my goodness, if I ever find myself in Canberra, I'm definitely coming to do some classes with you. So very exciting. I am interested to hear, actually already I want to ask 58 different questions, but let's start with the key question that I usually do ask, which is when I invited you onto the show, what was the big change or shift that was kind of in your mind and heart to be sharing around?
I think it was around my own health. And the change that needed to happen.
Yeah.
When I was feeling very burnt out after running the graphic design studio for nearly 10 years. And at the same time, around that time, I was going through perimenopause.
Did you know that you were at the time? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, yes.
Yep. Okay. Good. Because sometimes people are like, I didn't even know what it was. So you did know that was what you were going through?
Yes.
And how was your experience in terms of the physical / emotional / spiritual / everything else that comes with that beautiful ride?
I was really moody and just unsure about when my next period was going to come, and when it did, it was really heavy and awful. And it was a little bit traumatic in some way, because there was a lot of other things happening in my life as well.
Yeah.
So just navigating through my own physical changes and emotions. My moods were definitely affected. I wasn't the easiest person to be around. It was a pretty moody time, I'd have to say.
And so do you feel like the burnout was a combination of, the time had come to move on from that business, or was it very perimenopause kind of precipitated, or what do you feel like was the cause?
I think it was a combination of things, but I think it was mostly around the business, and that was causing a lot of stress. I just really had enough and I wasn't sure what to do. And I felt like I had to keep working. But the other thing that happened around the same time was my husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's it was 2014. So I had turned 50. He was 52. And so I was dealing with that. And it was a lot.
Yeah. I think perimenopause by itself is a lot. And then you add on something massive like that, and at such a young age too, because, do you have children? I don't actually know with you.
Yes, we have 2 daughters.
Yeah. So were they still at home, or were you empty nesting and looking forward to the next stage of your life?
In 2014, we had one daughter at home still, and then she moved out maybe a year later. Yeah.
Wow. So lots and lots of change, as usually happens around the perimenopause. There's so many things that I want to ask, and please just answer whatever feels comfortable. So that's always going to be the caveat in these conversations. When your husband was diagnosed, what was your perimenopause flavored response? Because we kind of know that for a lot of us, our tolerance for stress and our emotional bandwidth gets smaller when we're going, and particularly when we're going through the first kind of part of perimenopause, which is that like separation sort of stage where it's like, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't feel the same anymore. My periods are all over the bloody place. How well did you cope with that diagnosis?
I think I went into denial to start with. And I didn't cope well because I just didn't want to face it. Our dad also had Parkinson's, so I kept sort of looking at Dad and then looking at my husband, thinking, that can't be right, and I can't see my husband with Parkinson's because my dad has it, and how, what is this punishment like?
And how have I ended up with two? Like, I would imagine my response would be, "Are you freaking kidding me?"
Yeah.
Like, I've seen the impact on my dad.
It was awful. And then I think the thing that I sort of woke up to, and it probably took 2 years from the diagnosis, was suddenly I realised that I was not only a wife, I was going to become a carer. And I really wasn't sure if I wanted to take on that role, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. So I went into a bit of fight or flight. And I think that's really when I burnt out, because I was just so unsure about our future and his illness and whether or not I could cope with it. And I really wanted to run away. Yeah.
I have dealt with that dance before, being a carer in many different, for parents and for kids with chronic health conditions, and also as a wife. And it's, I totally relate to that. Like my role, the role that I chose, the role that I thought that I was getting, and the role that I'm willing to fulfill by definition is partner, wife, friend, lover. No one told me there was going to be a carer bit in there. How does that work?
And I didn't sign up for this.
I didn't sign up for this. And I look back now and I think a large part of me was really angry and really resentful of like, well, I think for my personal journey, it was because it had happened so many times that I needed to, turn all of my attention outwards to take care of someone else's needs. I now see in hindsight, I can see that I learnt to be very codependent as a kid. And so there was a lot of ways where I kind of overgave and overcared and over everything anyway, even as a carer. So I think, I have to own my sort of end of that. But I was angry and resentful and like, I didn't, exactly what you just said, I didn't sign up for that. I did not sign up for that. And then feeling guilty because then you have those feelings. And so it's like, I've got nowhere to go in my head. There's no safe place for me to land.
Yeah.
And to do it at the same stage as perimenopause, where I find, well, certainly at this stage that I can be, good and even and chilled and relaxed like I usually have been in the past, and then the next day be completely unable to cope, like completely. So when you look back at that, how do you feel about the journey for yourself? Because I imagine, coming out the other side, would you identify yourself as postmenopausal now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So can you look back? How do you look back at 50? You said 50, didn't you? So 50-year-old Claire. How do you feel when you look back at her?
I have a little bit of sympathy, empathy. Because it wasn't just perimenopause. There was, McClay's diagnosis. The girls had left home or were leaving home. So that's the other thing that after we married 38 years this year.
Yeah, wow.
So suddenly you become a couple again.
Yes.
And you we were left in this big house. both daughters had left home. Nicola's mum, who I'd nursed through cancer, had passed away. And we're sort of left looking at each other going, who the hell are you?
Mm.
You know, like I'd just really forgotten how to even relate to him, you know, with just the two of us.
Yeah.
So it was also about trying to re-establish our relationship as a couple.
Mm-hmm. And what the rules are when you don't have kids and everyone else to take care of, like, you know, how does this dynamic even work? I remember actually looking at my husband, and I feel like I'm right smack bang in the middle of that as well. But I feel like about this time last year, I was like, shit, okay. One of ours has left school and left home. One's just about to, well, who are you? Literally, like, who is this alien? We've only been married 20, what are we up to? 23 years. It's 27 years and 2 days since our first date. There you go. But yeah, it's a long, when you do that parenting thing for 18 years, like that's a lot of time, isn't it? And the rules are different and the engagement's different and the connection is different.
Yeah.
You've just started that dance.
Shifts, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So you're starting to do that dance. You get a diagnosis. How has your relationship changed? If you look backwards, like 37 years, that's such a beautiful thing. What a gift to be able to look at that many years together. How has the diagnosis impacted? Well, it's not even just the diagnosis, isn't it? Because you can't separate it out. But how has your relationship changed? What does that look like now? Hey gorgeous, we interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode.
I feel it's very much, it has shifted. So I'm playing more of a carer role.
Yeah.
And I don't feel as much, how shall I say, that, you know, my husband was my protector. He was the masculine energy in the relationship, and he still is, but it's not as dominant. So my masculine side has to come through a lot more than I probably would normally. And yeah, I find that tricky. And I think I was trying to explain to him one day that even throughout the day, I moved from being his friend, his wife, and then suddenly at different times during the day, I'm definitely the carer. So I'm, you know, really helping him through his day.
Yeah.
And then I get to the end of the day and I'm exhausted and I haven't had a whole lot of support back. So yeah, it's still challenging, and I'm still kind of working out who I am in this relationship and how it's going to look going forward. But it's definitely a different relationship.
Yeah.
It's still a good. I mean, we love each other and we're really good friends, but it's not what it was.
Yeah. Yeah, by definition, because as soon as someone has something that affects their capacity, everyday living capacity, it has to change. And I think that's why even with people, because I know a lot of people of our age, and you also went through this dance of, you know, having aging parents that are unwell, putting them into aged care, whatever. Even if the person that you have been caring for then, you know, moves, like if it's a parent and they move into aged care, it's not like the exhaustion of the caring disappears. It just kind of changes to a more emotional exhaustion rather than the physical getting to the toilet, getting in the car, getting to bed or whatever it used to be. Yeah. And you find, pardon, Claire. And you find yourself also in a helping, healing role as a yoga teacher as well. Do you find that that's an exhaustion or a cup filler for you?
It's a bit of both. I sort of feed off it.
Yeah.
But it does. I've got to be careful that I don't let it deplete me.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's got to be with boundaries.
Yeah. And that's still a work in progress. But just as an example, I'm pretty aware of my energy levels and when I'm feeling a little depleted.
Yes.
So yesterday I have 3 yoga classes throughout the day.
Yeah.
2 short ones and then a long yin class in the evening. So I was exhausted this morning.
Yeah.
And I woke at 4 a.m. Couldn't get back to sleep. So I got up and had a cup of tea and had a read. And then I went back to sleep and I didn't actually wake until quite late. And then I stayed in bed until about 10:30 this morning.
Nice.
And drank more tea. So that, to me, that's my self-care, and that's what I needed. My body was really asking for more sleep and just quiet time.
Yeah. And so not having to hold space.
If I honour that, then I'm okay. It's when I ignore it and I just keep going that I really burn out quickly.
So thinking about your burnout that you were talking about when you were in graphic design, has your relationship with self-care also changed? Because obviously, you know, burnout is the definition of I've ignored my needs long enough that my body is shutting down. Like that to me is my definition. It's probably not the medical definition, but that's what I feel like it is. What did you used to ignore those signs? Like, would you have allowed yourself to, back in those days, sit in bed and, you know, nourish yourself with a cup of tea and some downtime and quiet? And
I don't have time for that.
No. Yeah.
On the move all the time. So as an example, when I was running the business and running 1,000,000 miles an hour, I got to 50 and my husband and I went over to Italy to celebrate my 50th.
Yeah.
And just before that, I started to smoke again. So as a younger woman, I did smoke. And then I gave it up, when I had children. And I took it up a couple of times, but I gave it up pretty quickly. Anyway, come age 50 or nearly 50, I decided to take it up again. And that was just because I was so stressed out. I needed some sort of advice, and that was it. So we got to Italy and I loved it because you could smoke at all the restaurants and the cafes.
Oh, yeah.
Up and like a cigarette. So I smoked my way around Italy.
I got a dream of going cycling in Italy for my 50th. Your painting is slightly different picture, Claire.
And I adored it with the full intention of giving that up when I got home. But that didn't happen. So probably a year, 2 years later, here I was smoking again and not looking after myself at all, not eating well. I lost a lot of weight. I wasn't sleeping, all the things. And it was then that I thought, oh, this is ridiculous. And if I'm going to be a carer, I've got to look after myself. So that was sort of the wake-up call, because I thought if I get sick, there's no one to look after hubby.
There's no plan B.
Yeah. So I really had to pull up my socks and,
So where did you start? Because I know that you made the shift out of graphic design, and you use words kind of like, I couldn't do it anymore. That was pretty much what I read when I was reading your story. But then you decide to go into health and wellbeing. What was the process of that? Like, you're smoking your way around Italy, you come home and straight away decide? No, you said a couple of years later. So there's a bit of time in between.
We got the diagnosis for my husband, and I'm back at work, trying to make the business work. Meanwhile, staff are leaving, some key staff, and I just feel like, it's starting to crumble. And what else happened? And our daughter left home, so we decided to downsize into a smaller home. And that was when I said to my husband, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this business. It's just, there's no life in it. Things have an energy about them, and it sort of felt like it was dying.
Yeah.
Right, that I want out. I need to do something else. And he said, I didn't realise how unhappy it was making you feel. And I said, yeah, it really is sapping all my energy at the moment. So we made the decision together to close it down. Actually, I ended up selling it, which was really great.
Yay, that's good.
But just before that, I started, because I had been practicing yoga. Yeah. I started to look at doing my yoga teacher training, and it was really more just for myself. So I got into that in 2016 and did that here in Canberra, and I loved it. I was still smoking at the time. It's actually the yoga course, the philosophy that we started before we came face-to-face in that course, that I thought, oh my gosh, I can't be a yoga teacher. If I'm going to be a yoga teacher, I can't be a yoga teacher smoking. Like, it just doesn't go hand in hand to me. And if you're, trying to walk your talk, then something's got to give. So
if you're embodying what you're teaching, although as you're talking, I'm thinking, I learnt to smoke when I worked with a whole heap of respiratory nurses in sleep medicine, because you did 12-hour night shifts, and to keep yourself awake, you'd go out in the cold, suck the end out of a cigarette, And I'm like, and then we used to go back in and watch people with respiratory disease sleeping. Like, how crazy is that? But I honestly didn't even see the hypocrisy of what I was doing at the time. I think I was just so bloody tired and so obsessed with earning money to put myself through uni. So it's amazing what you can not see when you don't want to see. So you gave up smoking pretty much straight away, or what was the process?
Straight away, yeah. I just thought, if I'm going to be authentic and true to myself, I've got to be healthy.
Yeah.
And smoking just, it wasn't working anyway. So it was really the yoga teacher training that was the catalyst for my big change. And I loved that course so much.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed to come at the exact right time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me, not just the physical part of yoga, as you know, being a yoga teacher, but that whole philosophy. I just really soaked that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally relate to that. I only did my yoga teacher training in 2019, just before COVID. So I started classes in January and stopped them in March because the whole world shut down. So that was a great start. But for me, it was at exactly the right time as well, because it was a stretch, same sort of thing. I practiced yoga for many, 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 many years, on and off, like, greater intensity, less, blah, 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 different styles. And to me, the timing for me was a lot more about the philosophy and the living as yoga, rather than just doing the asanas, which is how I'd really just been doing yoga before that. And it's a funny thing, isn't it? When you start studying stuff like that, it becomes more and more easy to spot where you're getting in your own way, because you're not actually looking at yourself holistically. You're like, oh yeah, I can push myself at work in a job that I absolutely hate just to earn money. It's like, no, that's not really working. Let's be honest. So what was it like to start your yoga? Actually, you must have gone online through the whole COVID thing, or did Canberra have bad lockdowns?
Pre-COVID, so it was 2016 I started training. And I was very fortunate because I think we were one of the last groups to go through this training face-to-face. So we did it, I can't remember how we did it now. I think it was every weekend, and then we did a block of a week or 2 weeks. Yeah. Pretty intense towards the end. Yeah. But I really loved it. And I loved being face-to-face. There was a little bit online, but most of it was face-to-face, which was great.
Yeah, you really can't beat the magic of face-to-face. I know that we've adapted and there's lots of things that you can do, but there's still, like, I've never ever taught yoga online, and I do intend to, but the magic of people being right in front of you and the energy of being in a room of people and the impact that, particularly women sharing with other women, like, as they come to the room, as they leave the room, all of that magic.
Can't compare it.
It's not the same as being at home with a computer screen in front of you. And, of course, online is better than nothing. I would always say that, but yeah. How else is because you said before, when you were doing the business that didn't feel good, you were also, not eating well, not sleeping, etc. So what was the impact of starting yoga for yourself? So obviously it's part of nourishing you, but what else happened as a result? Because you're doing this yoga thing, and I'm just interested. It's like a domino, right? Usually. So what was the domino effect?
I think I became a lot more embodied. So I felt like I was very disconnected from my body before. And it's sort of really abusing my body, actually, to make myself feel better, because I felt so crappy, as you do. So, I was drinking the wine and smoking the cigarettes and hoping that that would make me feel better and it would all go away, but it didn't.
If only it were that simple.
I think for the first time in my life doing the yoga teacher training, I really felt embodied. And I'd never felt that before. And I started to listen to my body also for the first time ever. So I just noticed, if it was hunger I was feeling or thirst, because often you think you're hungry and you're not, you're just dehydrated.
Yeah, exactly.
And making better choices about what I was fueling my body with. Just that holistic way of living, I think.
And even just what you said before, responding to the feeling of I am actually quite depleted today and not choosing to push through. It's interesting. This morning I had a group call for the Coming Home Collective, which is a membership that I run. And so the collective chooses a theme for each month, which is cool because it's like a choose your own adventure. Like we never know what's coming. But this month was someone had said that she feels like she's self-rejecting. And so we had this huge conversation this morning in the call about the difference between self-rejection, self-neglect, and then, self-acceptance, self-love, like this sort of continuum. And one of the big things that came up is exactly what you're saying, is just not being connected to our bodies and our needs. And so therefore having absolutely no chance of having a life that feels, fulfilling and nourishing and, having a sense of calm or self-trust. Because to me, what you're talking about really, the more that you listen to your body, feel the need or heal, however you interpret the need and then respond to it, you're building self-trust by doing that, because you're like, I've got your back, because no one else is flipping coming. If we're waiting for someone else to make us do self-care, stop. What's that? Is it Mel Robbins? It's like, no one's coming. That's what I always think. It's like, if you're not going to go to bed early enough to get a good night's sleep, no one's going to make you. If you're not going to choose to get up and go for a walk in nature or ground yourself at lunchtime or whatever, no one's going to make you. So I think...
And I think that was it too. I realised that I'm the only one responsible for my own health and self-care. As you say, no one else is going to do it. So
isn't that a tough realisation? Because then you go, oh, I'm the one that also created the burnout by the way that I'm behaving and treating myself. And that sucks. And also, once you get over that sucks stage, oh, that's good. That means I can change it. It's like the other side. Why do you reckon it's so common for women to not be in their bodies? Like just not connected to their needs at all?
Why is it so common? I think because we're so damn busy taking care of everybody else. And I really think that's all it comes down to.
Yeah. Can I ask you, did you have a reference point? And this is, we're not pointing fingers at our mums or other female caregivers, but did you have a reference point of any female in your life when you were growing up that you actually saw taking care of her own needs?
Oh, wow. Good question.
It's part of a theory I'm forming.
No, I don't think I do.
I certainly didn't. Like if I think about my mum, but also my, generationally, the people that I came from. So my dad was born in 1920 in the Depression, one of 9 kids. His mum died early anyway, but there's no way on God's earth she was thinking about self-care. Like you just know from that entire picture. So she would not have been well nourished, and for, very good reasons, like food scarcity and poverty and depression, big reasons. Yeah. My mum's family is from dairy farmers who are always, always, always working. There's no option to not work. So by definition, those types of people, like the people that are labouring for a living, they're not sitting in bed with a cup of tea because I don't have the bloody ability to, because the lifestyle of a farmer is not that. Yeah. And then I even think about, like, if I cast my mind further afield, I can't remember anyone as a kid like asking myself the same question. I just don't have a reference point. So to me, there is no surprise that there's so many of us that, because I like to totally relate to what you're saying. Like, yoga was always, I always knew, like, I started practicing pretty regularly when my kids were very, very little. And I always knew that I felt the most like myself on the mat. And that's what I would keep coming, it's right behind me. Like, that's why it's so close to me, because that's always been an anchor point for me. But it was only on the mat. Like, it was this space of time. And I really haven't learnt how to listen and respond until just recently. And I actually think it's partly the magic of this perimenopause stuff, is that you just can't push through anymore. So you have to learn to listen.
Yeah, and stop.
Yeah. Because if you hadn't gone through perimenopause, well, maybe what you're saying, because you're kind of saying the business had kind of run out of energy. When you said that, I thought about my dad saying, you can't flog a dead horse. Like, that's the kind of the picture that I got. So maybe it had run its course anyway. But do you reckon if you hadn't been in perimenopause, maybe you would have just leapt into something else that was just as busy and just as demanding?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because until we actually have a reason to break the pattern, we won't break the pattern. Like, there's
yeah. And the pattern is still there, Kylie. Like,
oh, me too.
Just telling a girlfriend this morning that I'm not doing, last year I was doing nanny daycare, so 2 days a week I was helping look after babies, which I loved, but this year I'm not doing that. So I can spend more time on my business and helping my hubby. But, I've managed to fill up that time very easily. And I've booked workshops and I'm doing events. And, if there's a little space, I'll fill it up with something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm still learning to balance.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I was just saying this morning, I was at my desk at 8 o'clock last night for the third night in a row. And I've got this self-care commitment that I'm really trying to honour, that says that I will work in between these hours and only 3 or 4 days a week. Yeah, well, so far at the moment, there's definitely not a good boundary around that. And I'm just like, this bloody pattern of pushing through, but also, for me at least, there's almost like an energy of, if I don't get it done now, it won't get done. And I'm really trying, one of the words that I've got chosen for this year is receptive, because I'm just like, if I actually wait until I have the nourished energy to do something, it's so much more easy, powerful, magnetic, like all of the things that I'm wanting and pushing to try and get, it's actually better just to wait for the energy to come. And I'm like, oh, well, I've had this mastered by the time I get to 70. I don't know. I don't think, maybe not. What are the gifts that you see when women come to yoga, especially the newbies? Do you have lots of newbies that find you, or have you got mainly like very experienced yogis? What's your classes like?
I've got some students who have been coming for a few years, which is really nice.
Nice.
And, or just this week, or last week actually, I've got some new ladies that are coming along.
Beautiful.
And yeah, that's really nice. What was your question?
I was just going to say, when people do come for the first time, what are they looking for? Do they know that they're not in their body, or are they just wanting to do something relaxing? Like, I'm always interested to see how people get to the stage where they realize that yoga could well be part of their self-nourishing.
I think it takes a little while. One of the girls last night, so I do a yin restorative class on a Wednesday night, and I had 2 new ladies and a woman that's been coming for a long time. And she said during the class, she said, sometimes these held poses are the hardest because you've got to be with yourself. And I said, yes, I know. So
I totally agree.
These classes, are you just lying around on bolsters, not doing anything? How can that be hard?
Mm-hmm.
Or what's the benefit in that? But there is just so much juicy benefit to doing that. And we talk about the breath and fascia and, how we can really calm the nervous system. So look, they always leave feeling totally relaxed and like different people.
Such a gift.
Yeah.
Such a gift. So shout out to all the beautiful yoga teachers holding space like that. I'm not teaching at the moment, so I just, honouring all of you that are, makes me emotional. Goodness. But, being able to go somewhere and drop into actual rest and relaxation and maybe put all the other stuff that's going on in life that might be stressing you just at the door, take off your shoes, take off your worries and step in and find yourself on the mat. I'm going to cry. It's such a special thing. And I think when women have a safe place to be able to do that, that's when real healing of the nervous system can start, because we have to feel safe before we will let go of anything that's traumatizing or troubling us, because, that's how we're designed. And I just don't think, like, if you're listening to this and you are living in your head and you don't have any connection to your body, you don't know how your body's feeling, you wouldn't check in on your energy, there's an invitation here for you to find somewhere, whether it's yoga or, I'm not a fan of Pilates, I have to say. But anyway, that's no disrespect to Pilates. It's just not my thing. But, find somewhere that you can unravel yourself and just commit to going once a week to start with, like just that little tiny opening. And I totally relate to the, people say, oh, I don't want to do yin, it's not challenging enough. And I'm like, well, have you ever done a yin course? Because, you meet your edges when you have to stay still, particularly those of us that like to keep our time busy and our brains, running around. Sorry if that hurt your ears, people listening, but it's a funny old thing, isn't it?
So what do you read poetry while they're in these poses, just to, come out of their heads?
I think I have to come and have a class with you, Claire. We should have a wild and finally fucking free visit, a group visit to Claire's beautiful yoga space. What sort of poetry do you read? Do you remember something that you read in the last little while that you'd like to share with us? Not word for word, obviously.
I think it's pretty old now, called She Let Go. Have you heard that one?
I have.
Yeah, that's nice.
Can you summarise?
Changing up the words a little bit, because it's, I think one of the phrases is, she didn't write it in her daytime. And I thought, oh my God, that sounds like it's 1970. So, I changed it up a bit. She didn't put it on social media.
She let go.
Yeah, it's lovely. It had one of my students in tears one night. So, I'm
going to find a copy of that and I'll put it in the show notes for anyone that's, or actually, a link to it in the show notes. I was going to say, I can't put the whole poem in the show notes because it'll be too long. I'm interested as you're talking, because when I said to you before, do you identify as postmenopausal? What do you reckon the shifts have been? And obviously you've made massive changes to your life, which, by definition are going to shift things anyway. What would you say to those of us like me in the messy middle at the moment about being on the other side? Like what's the blessing of going through the rite of passage?
I think the blessing is you have a little bit more wisdom around your body. And a lot more trust.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a sense that there is a whole new depth of wisdom and also power that's on the other side of this. For me, I feel I have little tiny little inklings, and I'm like, oh, and then I fall back into the, I don't know, severe mood swings or not being able to sleep for days or whatever, and I think, this is horrible. But I do feel like, and I'm starting to interview more people that are postmenopausal, as well as people in the middle, and that's the kind of message that I'm hearing more. And I'm like, okay, I can hold on for that. I can hold on for wisdom and power. Or should I say, I can let go for wisdom and power, because I do think that that's the surrender, isn't it? Like, yeah.
And I think so you have more confidence. When I look back to my 40s, I thought I was the confident businesswoman. I was strutting around in the high heels, doing the thing and having the meetings and
the picture of the businesswoman.
Oh yeah, doing the networking and burning myself out.
Yep.
But I didn't feel very confident. There was always that self-doubt, always. And I mean, even now, I'm still, I doubt whether I'm teaching yoga the right way, or why didn't that student who came last week come back again? Does she hate me? Or there's always self-doubt, but there's a lot less, I think, these days.
Do you reckon that comes partly from also this sense, or at least my experience is starting to be, I don't actually give two hoots what you think. Like, I'm much more interested in how I feel about something. Not to be like offensive to anyone, but it's just like, when it comes back to it, I think for me, a lot of the self-doubt that I have ever experienced is about what other people will think, or what other people see, or what other people perceive, or whatever. And now I'm like, I would actually much rather be myself and be judged for that, because you're going to be judged anyway, than trying to be, the woman in, the stereotype of, if I'm a woman in business, I have to be in heels and I have to network and I have to do this. And I'm always like, I always ask clients, at what cost? Like, is it something you actually want to do? Is it something that feels good? Is it nourishing? Is it, especially in perimenopause, like, do you have the resources to do this?
Yeah.
Would you let it go? And if it is something that you love, and if you love wearing high heels, like, no disrespect, I haven't been in a pair of high heels for probably a decade now, and I have no intention of going back to them. But if you like them, more power to you. I guess what I'm saying is, I think, the lack of self-doubt, I think, comes from not so much seeking the approval outside of yourself, or not looking for that external.
Yeah. I couldn't give two hoots what anyone thinks, actually.
No.
Anymore.
No, I'd much rather just be myself. It's just like, take me or leave me. Take me or leave me. It's a very nice place to land, definitely. Okay, last question. If you were to tell our listeners something about becoming wild and free over these years of your life, what would it be? What would the key thing be that you would like to tell people? What's something that we probably just talked about it. It's like, what's something that you actually cared about before that you couldn't give two hoots about now that you're free of? Maybe it is the external approval.
Yeah, I think worrying what everyone else thinks about you.
Mm-hmm.
I love that saying that, what is it? It's none of your business what other people think about you.
Yep.
It's probably not the right way around, but and also finding the thing that you want to do with your life in terms of work. Because even after I closed, I sold the business, I still didn't trust that I could just teach yoga, or just get into that wellness space and make a living from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really think I was worthy of that. I thought, and I need to have been teaching for 10 years before I can kind of claim that as my thing. So I did, look, I had, I don't know, 3 different office jobs.
Yep.
And it was a good learning curve, like it was more experience, and I think I needed to do them just to work my way through all the crappity crap until I can come out the other end. But looking back now, if I just trusted that I could do what I'm doing now, then I wish someone had told me that it's okay to do your own thing. You don't need to hold down a crappy job that you hate, getting, terrible pay, and, with toxic people and
in an environment that doesn't suit you, and probably an industry that doesn't align with your belief system, like all of the things that come with, working for someone else, potentially, not always, obviously. It's a funny thing, isn't it? Because we have these desires, and then our fear brain says, oh, but who are you to do that? Or you're not experienced enough, or you're not good enough, or you don't know enough, or you're not whatever. I would always 100% say if you've got the desire, there is also an equal capacity, ability to learn, expand, or whatever into it. I think for me, particularly now, because I've only just restarted my business, like Business 2.0, is that ignoring reality and focusing on what you are living into. And it's such a dance of like, I'm holding space for what I'm growing into very deliberately, and I'm claiming very deliberately. And also right now, I'm not there yet. And I think that is something that I'm getting better and better at. And I obviously still, there's still a long way to go. But I think really for me to hear someone like you who is at the stage where you have created what you want to create, it's a reminder to me to focus on what you want and not on the reality right now, because that's how we get in our way. That's how we stop ourselves expanding, is just looking at what you've done so far. It's like, well, by definition, you can't grow if you just look at what you've done so far. Like that's, like you're in a bubble, and it's the same energy that you've, use energy and beliefs and mindset and whatever behaviors that you've used to create what you've got already. So if you want to create something different, it's like that. Is it Einstein that says you can't solve a problem with the mindset it took to create it? That's just like same sort of thing. You can't grow a dream with the, like the old belief system that got you into the job, because it's not good.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you for the reminder. That's a little hat tip to me for me to anchor to.
I like the way you put that though.
Yeah, I've been feeling into it a lot. I just read, I've been telling everyone about this book. I'm in a business mastermind, and our first book to read is called Quantum Vibes. It's by Suzanne Adams. And it's law of attraction, like same sort of stuff as law of attraction, just repackaged, a bit more modernized, broken down into easy steps. And one of the things that we're doing is doing like a vibe check, basically, like where are you sitting in terms of what your frequency is. And the frequency of being stuck in the now is definitely not, if you haven't created what you already want to create, then don't be stuck in the same energy. It's a dance, definitely. I've actually got a sign in front of me that says my energy is my superpower, because rather than the pushing through at 8:00 at night, like I just said, waiting until, you're nourished and your energy is aligned to creating expansion.
That trust, doesn't it? Trusting yourself, trusting that you are exactly where you're supposed to be.
And trusting your desires, because so many times when I'm talking to women, particularly in the business sense, and they say, oh, I've always wanted to do this, but that's not logical, or that's not possible, or that's not available to someone like me, or that's not whatever. And I'm like, why? Just because you haven't done it doesn't mean it can't happen. And if you have a desire, by definition, there's an equal, I guess I'm just repeating myself, but, you've already got, like, the idea doesn't come without the ability to create it. Or that's one of my beliefs anyway. And I think it's a good one, because then it just deletes the story that you can't have it. Yeah. It's a very, very cool thing. I'm just wondering, last question, when you look back at yourself in burnout, if you had been able to fast forward to like today, where you woke up and was like, nope, I'm going to take care of myself and sit and, go back to bed, have my cup of tea, what would you think? What would that version of Claire be doing?
The burnt out one? She'd probably be thinking like hell. I don't know. I just couldn't see. I couldn't see my future at all back then.
Maybe because you were so disconnected to yourself.
I was, so disconnected, and I was frightened about what my life was going to look like with an unwell husband.
Yep. Very, very understandably so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, deep bow of gratitude to you for sharing your story, and also honouring the fact that even though you've shared the fear and the doubt in like the diagnosis and the moving into your own business and everything, you've still been able to expand out of it. I think a lot of people get stuck in the fear and they can't go anywhere. And I think that to me, if I feel stuck, I'm like, am I making decisions from fear or love here? And you have found your way to making decisions from love. And it's just a beautiful thing to be able to share the journey with you. It's been a really lovely chat.
Thank you.
It's been, very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you so much. And do you teach online at the moment as well? I think you do.
I'm teaching online as well as face-to-face.
Okay, perfect. So where can people find you? And we'll put their link in the show notes as well.
So I have a website, yoga and wellnesscanberra.com.
Beautiful. Excellent, excellent. So if you're listening to this and you are going, oh, wow, I have never experienced feeling in my body, please do something about it. There's an invitation. Go find a beautiful yoga teacher. Go and check Claire out online, or especially if you're in Canberra. So I know there's a lot of listeners in Canberra. I was just looking at my stats last night about where in Australia people tune in from, and Canberra is one of the big, it's actually second after Brizzy. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So thank you so much, and we'll speak to you soon.
So good. Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning into another episode, and I trust you're walking away with inspiration, aha, maybe some chiropractic adjustments of the soul where you've realized perhaps some ways that you're getting in your own way, or something that needs to be healed, or something that's calling to you that your heart really, really wants to birth or create or step into in this second cycle of life. And if that's you, I am throwing my arms wide open and inviting you to check out all of the ways that we could potentially partner together at kyliepatchett.com.au. That's my website for the podcast, and also one-on-one and group programs in midlife mentorship, yoga and breath work in specifically designed menopause classes online, and also super excitingly, a list of retreats around Australia that I have been blessed to partner with some pretty darn spectacular humans who also help midlife mavens through this transition point. So if you are looking for some support, some community, some tools, just a safe place to actually reconnect to who you are, what you want, and come home to your own power and magnificence, I would love to welcome you into any one of those containers. So head on over to kyliepatchett.com.au, and I will be back in your ears very, very soon.